cs.gov. Once you fill out your mail-in ballot, you may drop it in any county election mailbox found outside places like libraries, or you could drop it off with a poll worker at any vote center. If you suspect election foul play, voter suppression or intimidation, or other irregularities, or if you need to know more about your rights, call the Election Protection Hotline at 1-866-OUR-VOTE. That's 866-687-8683 from any state. And if you need more information on specific candidates or propositions, check out our interviews and analysis on our YouTube channel or wherever you get your podcasts. Remember, November 5th is the last day to vote, and the sooner we do it, the better. Helping you vote like your life depended on it, because it does. Your election information station, KBLA Talk 1580.
Over here grooving. KBLA Talk 1580. It's my council member's theme song. It's just a great theme song. As the incumbent candidate for Council District 10, she serves as the councilwoman there. She's born and raised in L.A., first woman in history, first black woman to be appointed as a voting member for CD10. A public servant, though, for over 30 years. She's dedicated her life to activism, public service, and her community. Served as the first Black U.S. Senate State Director in California's history, and in that capacity, she served then Senator Kamala Harris, and was the principal representative among constituents and elected leaders throughout California. Councilmember Heather Hutt, great to see you again.
Good morning. Good morning.
How can you sound so energetic with just 8 days to go?
It's exciting. It's this whole election season is exciting. Really getting ready to see what the people want.
Yeah. Well, this is another hard-fought race. I mean, it seems like almost all of them are, unless people are running uncontested. But CD10 just has a history of that, right?
Right.
My council district has a history of being hotly contested. Is there a gift in that? Does that bring something, good to the table?
Well, what is interesting about CD10, in my opinion, it's the tapestry of Los Angeles, right? So it has Little Ethiopia, it has Koreatown, it has all of Mid-City, it has Little Bangladesh, it has the Oaxacan corridor, it has all the Baldwins, and it has beautiful Leimert Park. So it just has so much rich culture. Maybe that's the gift. In my mind, it is the gift. And I'm here for that. I'm here to represent all the beautiful culture that is here in our community.
And what is about Heather Hutt that gives you the unique ability to be able to represent that tapestry, which is quite diverse, right?
Very diverse. I think being from here, growing up in diversity, I think that is what gives you the open eye on how you accept and protect those cultures.
Yeah, it is not just diverse, but also divergent, because people's interests are not always in alignment. But certainly, it's been a black sea traditionally for some time. African American leadership has been able to prevail in the
And a
district.
man's seat. This is the seat of Tom Bradley.
A man's seat and a black seat.
That's right.
Yeah. But it's 2 women running this time.
Interesting, right?
Yeah.
And being the incumbent per se, I think it lets me really understand how granular this work is.
So the fine details of
Fine
the
details.
district.
All the weeds. I'm in them.
Yeah, exactly. The weeds, the potholes, the city lights.
I had to learn about potholes. And that's something that I've been able to share. Lights as well. Those are some real fundamental functions of the city. And they're not as you think as a constituent. You can't just fill a pothole. You have to wait for the right temperature. You need them to be dry. You have to, it's almost scientific in order to fill a pothole. Things you wouldn't know otherwise. And the same thing with the lights. There's a criminal element that goes along with still in our copper when it comes to lights. And so what I did is I submitted a motion to do a study on let's use solar. Now they can't steal the copper if we're using solar. And so I'm waiting for the feedback so that we can make a determination on a different way to light up our city.
Yeah, I love that. At least, looking for innovation, right? So, as the only African-American woman on the LA City Council at this time, tell me what you think you bring to the table in that body.
It's very interesting. I bring a different perspective. I'm also a single mom. I probably have more black sons than any other elected in the state of California. It's true. I mean, as I'm looking at in the legislature as well or other cities. And so I bring all of that to the table. Being grown up in an urban community, being the only black woman there, sometimes they auntie me. Sometimes my colleagues auntie me, and that's okay because they're looking for a seasoned woman's point of view.
Well, your bio says, as a councilwoman, my priority will always be to serve. It sounds like maybe just a slogan, but what does that mean to you?
Well, to know deep in my heart that I work for the people. And that my job, my priority is to serve the people. This is not for self. This is for the people that I live with.
Yeah.
Which is everyone here.
They live with, live next to.
That's right.
And spend time with. I always see you out and about in the district. If you were to articulate a vision, like of your best case scenario for CD10, what does that look like?
I'll give you an example. I don't know if you remember, and this is really something I'm very proud of. There were 2 one-man tents on La Brea. You could see them if you're going down the hill.
Yeah.
And you remember seeing those 2?
Yeah.
By Jim
By
Gilliam?
by the tennis courts over there.
Correct. And the 64,000 cars a day go down that street.
Wow, didn't know that.
So dangerous. So I went to talk to the people in there.
In the tents?
In the tents. And it was a woman. And I asked her if she had any children. And she said, yes, my daughter is in the tent next to me. And she explained in that night that they had been through domestic violence and it was safer for them there than anywhere else.
With 64,000 cars.
With 64,000 cars speeding down La Brea. They're not going 20.
I plead the 5th.
Well, I know. Well, I'm telling the truth. Shame the devil, tell the truth. I asked them if they wanted shelter that night. And they said no, they didn't want to go in the shelter. They didn't want to be around people. They didn't have any trust. And they didn't have anywhere else to go. So our team went back 5 times to offer them a different kind of housing. We offered them bridge housing, and they moved into the bridge housing, but they didn't move their tents for a few days because they didn't really trust. Once they got in bridge housing, the mom went to therapy, the daughter went to therapy, they went into job training, and today they are in an apartment with a key.
That's
The
excellent.
daughter has a job, and the mother is still in therapy. And that's the kind of work I want to do. That's my vision, helping people. And we saw an influx of women and children in cars and tents after pandemic because of domestic violence. And so in the 10th district, I'm really working hard to move folks into locations that will make them feel safe.
Yeah. So it sounds like houselessness is one of your top priorities.
Number one, I don't wake up and walk out the door without thinking about it. I think about it from affordable housing. You know, I got 3 sons, right? First of the month is next week. I'm going to be like, are you guys okay?
Yeah.
Because that part is difficult. And so the affordable housing, unhoused. I had unhoused experience when I left my husband. I was in a motel till I could tell my family. So,
Wow.
yeah, it's a reality to me.
Mm-hmm.
And it took a lot of courage to be able to say, I need help.
Yeah. You were there with your kids.
Right.
Wow.
And so, I have some life experiences I bring to this.
Yeah. And I know as a mom of one black son that it's nerve-wracking. I mean, just thinking about, the environment, the public safety environment, between gun violence and, police profiling and all of the things that can happen with a young black child.
You know my kids were shot, right? Do you not know that?
Yeah, I didn't know if you wanted to talk about it.
Well, they're thriving now. And they're a testament to faith and love. And I used to not be able to talk about it because I cried through it. But because they're doing so well, I'm okay with talking about it. And that's a motivator for me, too, is that they were in a location that's really a tourist area. And some gang members wanted to take it over as their territory and did the whole what set you from. And they we don't have a set. And the guy pulled a gun out of his sweats and just sprayed him. So 6 kids actually got shot. My godson, my youngest son, and my middle son were all shot. My godson still has a bullet in him. My son still has a bullet in him. And my middle son has healed. But the youngest is paralyzed also from his knee to his foot. But they're all thriving. And that next day, my youngest son said, Mommy, we have to do something. So I'm like, what? Like, what do you need? Ice chips? Like, what? I didn't know what he meant. And he was like, we have to help people. Because that boy didn't have any goals today. He didn't have anything to do. And so that part of me is still pushing to figure out how to offer people goals, how to give them jobs, how to do something rewarding in their life, not take over a gang territory. And the thing about that goal piece is that I feel like if you jobbing, you're not mobbing. Like if you have work every day, you don't have time for all of that.
Yep. I was just talking to a friend whose boyfriend, got expunged.
Nice.
Right through Prop 47 and finally can have a job.
That's right.
And it's just a game changer because you have options now. Now you have options.
Exactly. And we have to give people an opportunity. Like, that should be the thing. Like, you grow up into a space of opportunity.
Yeah. Sounds like another politician you used to work for. Opportunity economy. Or
a joyful
opportunity. We're talking with Council Member Heather Hutt. She would like to be elected as the council member for CD10. We'll continue the conversation when we come forward on KBLA Talk 1580.
A safe place to go loud. A great place for progressive politics. KBLA Talk 1580. Are you an entrepreneur looking to take your business to new heights? KBLA Talk 1580 is your partner in success. Every day, we celebrate and elevate Black-owned businesses across our community. Our KBLA SMB Marketplace currently features The Cookie Dip, Badass Bakes, Hair Concoction, Higher Education Accreditation Consulting, LACC Radiology Technology Department, and Malik Books. Your business deserves to be heard. Let KBLA Talk 1580 amplify your voice and connect you with our powerful community of listeners. Email smb@kbla1580.com today. That's smb@kbla1580.com. At KBLA Talk 1580, we've got your black. KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
Imagine a Los Angeles where everyone can thrive, where communities have access to the resources they need to succeed. That's the vision of Detours Mentoring Group, Inc. They're dedicated to improving life in LA County by providing educational support, employment assistance, and spaces for community engagement. By 2050, they want LA to be the best place to connect, create, learn, live, and play. They're working toward an education system that's well-resourced and culturally responsive, becoming a hub for artists and innovators, and making sure everyone has access to healthy food, quality healthcare, and safe housing. It's about building a future where we all have the chance to succeed. We invite you to learn more about their mission and get involved with Detours Mentoring Group, Inc. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
Before running for state senate, Laura Richardson was named one of the most corrupt members of Congress, guilty on 7 counts of ripping off taxpayers and a pattern of deception trying to cover it up. Richardson is too shady for state senate. For your state senator, frontline nurses, classroom teachers, and Planned Parenthood Advocacy Project support Democrat Michelle Chambers, a champion for abortion rights, higher wages for workers, and more affordable health care. Democrat Michelle Chambers for state senate.
Ad paid for by nurses and educators supporting Chambers for Senate 2024, sponsored by labor and nonprofit environmental and health organizations, Ad Committee's top funders, SEIU California State Council, not authorized by a candidate or committee controlled by a candidate.
This holiday season, Capital One reminds you to give yourself the gift of 1.5% cash back with the Capital One Quicksilver Card.
Can I earn 1.5% cash back on birds?
Birds?
What if you sent your true love 2 turtle doves plus a partridge in a pear tree?
Sure, but why would anyone want that?
The song was very convincing.
Earn 1.5% cash back on all your holiday purchases with the Capital One Quicksilver Card. What's in your wallet?
Terms apply. See CapitalOne.com for details.
Thanks for waking up with Dominique DiPrima on KBLA Talk 1580.
Councilmember Heather Hutt is my guest. I should say Councilwoman. She's running to be your council member for the 10th District. And so much to cover. We talked about houselessness. If you had a couple of 2, 3, 4 other top priorities under houselessness, what would it be?
Well, affordable housing, of course. Yeah. That we really need more affordable housing, utilizing our commercial corridors. People aren't at work. Those buildings are going to be empty. We have to really look at them as a housing space so that we have more inventory. We just don't have enough. We're living, especially in CD10. CD10 is now said to be more dense than Manhattan.
Really?
In the Koreatown area. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, I can see that.
Where we have so many apartments, and we're living multi-generationally in them, and that's where that density comes from. So we have to reuse those corridors and really put some real life affordable housing, and low and very low. Not just affordable, because that moves when the economy changes, but
right, based on what people can actually do.
Mm-hmm. Oh, I'm doing I can't talk about that on the other side. Never mind.
Oh, okay. It's confusing sometimes for me, even though I know it intellectually, I forget. Right now, we're talking to the candidate,
right?
Heather Hutt. So, affordable housing. Which is almost like a sister issue to houselessness. What else?
It really is.
Yeah.
And just regular safety. Being in communities that are walkable. Grandma can walk to the store. You can take a walk in your neighborhood. I also really want to work on our park spaces. We don't have any, right? We're park poor. And so I was able to break ground on the first park actually in Koreatown in 100 years.
What?
I know, it's crazy.
That sounds crazy.
And then I'm looking at other spaces that we have that are natural medians, but they're big. And how can we reutilize them, even if we put a track on them, a walk track, or if we put those isometric exercise things in them. Just how can we use this space?
Right, use the space that we have.
Right.
I mean, when you're talking about that corridor, it's really dense. Where do you even put a park?
Right. Well, the park that we broke ground on is going to be a Pio Pico Library Park, and we took the parking lot. We're going to do subterranean and then do the outdoor park connected to the library, which is a very cool, go read, go outside.
Yeah, it's nice.
Because we got to have a different quality of life, and things that I'm planning are for a better quality of life, so that we really feel good about where we are. We're here. It should be good.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think you're like me in that we love L.A.
We do.
But that doesn't mean you don't want to improve it.
Right.
You don't want to upgrade it here and there. Talk to me about your endorsements. I know it was interesting to me that, again, Knock LA, which is ground game, which is considered progressive, they did endorse you. And that, they have their little caveats, but they say that you're the one for CD10.
I am honored to have their endorsement. I believe that they see that I'm not a one-size-fits-all candidate, and that I understand issues, and I understand progressive issues more than I look like I understand, right? And I don't know if it's being a woman or age that makes people naturally think that I'm more moderate than I am. But I do have progressive values, and I appreciate their endorsement, really.
It's not always. Well, I mean, they're saying that you're too far into the sweeps and taking folks off the streets, but they're also saying that your opponent, Grace Yu, is against building houseless shelters. So they're putting you on the more progressive side of houselessness, even though they're complaining about that. You want to address that?
I do, because I have not done any sweeps. I use 4118, which is the tool. And so that means that you give people notice, post signs in sensitive...
I mean, it's the anti-camping ordinance, right?
In sensitive areas, though.
Right.
And so you do it at churches, at schools, at preschools.
Right.
And then you're basically in a dialogue. Now with folks that refuse services in the past, because it's not like you just go there automatically. You have offered services. Sometimes we find that those spaces that are utilized are really, there's a criminal element there. And then when you tell them that there's the police may come, the criminal element leaves, and the person that really needs assistance says, you still got housing for me. If you check my record, I don't have any arrests under 4118. The only district in the whole city. So I'm not criminalizing homelessness, and I won't.
Well said. Now let's pivot to the other endorsement that I guess would be considered pretty big, especially since they declined to endorse your former...
Crazy.
Yeah, that is crazy. But the LA Times has endorsed you. And
right.
Definitely not a given. But they outline how you were appointed to the city council after MRT was removed and then named a permanent replacement. And they say there's things to admire about both of you guys, but they say that they recommend you for the seat because you've earned the respect of other city council members who have found you to be collaborative and thoughtful on the issues during the 2 years on the council. They also say you grew up in the district, you have relevant political experience. They mention your state director position for Kamala Harris and district director for Isidore Hall. What resonated with you, or what would you set the record straight on concerning their endorsement?
Again, I'm honored to have LA Times endorsement. they do a lot of vetting and speaking to all kinds of people in the community, other electeds in other areas, community members, neighborhood council members. And so they really do their homework when they're making their choices. At least in my race, that was what folks told me much later. And so I am again, I'm honored to have the respect of the people that they spoke with, and to have their endorsement. LA Times is basically progressive as well, and so they can see that we can move the needle.
On the editorial side, yeah.
Right.
Not always on the journalist side, but so they say their assessment of your, and we'll address this after news, traffic, and sports because we're 40 seconds out from that. They say you've retained Ridley Thomas's humane outreach strategy and worked to move people out of encampments into both temporary and permanent housing. And so it's interesting that they have a different take on your dealing with houselessness. And so I just want to get your, dig into that a little bit deeper when we come forward. We're talking with Councilmember Heather Hutt. She is the incumbent in where I live, CD10, and she wants your vote for re-election. That's next on KBLA Talk 1580.
She's reclaiming her time on KBLA Talk 1580. More First Things First with Dominique DiPrima when we come forward.
I'm Bree Wood with 4 things you should know from BIN News. More than 41 million early votes are cast so far in the general election. That's according to the University of Florida's election lab. Nearly half those ballots were cast in person. Women voters headed to the polls more than men by over 10 percentage points. Former President Trump held a rally at Madison Square Garden featuring speakers like Elon Musk, Melania Trump, and Robert F. Kennedy Jr. Trump vowed to fix issues he attributed to Vice President Kamala Harris. Comedian Tony Hinchcliffe sparked controversy with offensive remarks about Puerto Rican. Realtor.com issued its rating of the top 10 cities with the lowest cost of living. The top 5 cities are McAllen, Texas, Wichita, Kansas, Little Rock, Arkansas, Toledo, Ohio, and Scranton, Pennsylvania. And Brock Purdy and the 49ers held off Dak Prescott and the Cowboys on Sunday Night Football. San Francisco defeated Dallas 30-24 in an NFC showdown at Levi's Stadium. Get BIN News on demand 24/7 at BINnews.com.
As Cybersecurity Awareness Month wraps up, remember to update your software to fix security issues that identity thieves exploit to steal personal info. And for comprehensive identity theft protection, choose LifeLock. Start your 30-day free trial today at lifelock.com/cybersafety.
This is the KBLA Sports Minute with Ray Richardson.
It's a feel-good Monday for the LA sports scene. We start with the Chargers. They improved to 4-3 with a 26-8 win over New Orleans at SoFi. The Chargers defense did not give up a touchdown and held the Saints scoreless in the fourth quarter. The Chargers are at Cleveland next Sunday. The Clippers have won back-to-back road games. After winning Saturday in Denver, they spoiled Golden State's home opener Sunday with a 112-104 win. 23 points, 18 rebounds, and 6 assists for Vika Zubac. James Harden had 23 points, 11 assists, and was 9 for 9 at the free throw line. The 3-0 Lakers begin a 5-game road trip tonight in Phoenix. Dodgers manager Dave Roberts says Shohei Ohtani will be in the lineup tonight for Game 3 in the World Series against the Yankees. Ohtani suffered a partially dislocated left shoulder in Game 2. Games 3, 4, and 5 are in New York. No debates, no speculation, just the info you need. That's your KBLA Sports Minute. I'm Ray Richardson on KBLA Talk 1580.
Oh no, stomach issues again?
Stomach issues?
Who are you?
Your pancreas. I could be the real reason for your diarrhea, gas, bloating, stomach pain, or loose oily stools.
I thought it was my stomach.
People often do, but any of these symptoms could mean having a condition called exocrine pancreatic insufficiency, or EPI. With EPI, the pancreas doesn't release enough enzymes to break down food, but EPI is manageable. Use the symptom checker on identifyepi.com and speak with your doctor. That's identifyepi.com. Sponsored by AbbVie.
I occasionally have nerve discomfort in my hands, so the things I love to do
Let's play something, Grandma.
became difficult as I got older.
If you have occasional stabbing and burning in your hands and feet, try Nervive Nerve Relief. Nervive's clinically studied dose of alpha-lipoic acid reduces occasional nerve discomfort in as little as 7 days with continued daily use. Say yes to healthy nerves with Nervive Nerve Relief. These statements have not been evaluated by the Food and Drug Administration. This product is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease.
My friends swim no matter the season, but my moderate to severe plaque psoriasis can sometimes take me out of the moment. Now, thanks to Skyrizi and clear skin, count me in. With Skyrizi, Risankizumab Riza, a prescription-only 150 milligram injection for adults who are candidates for systemic or phototherapy. 3 out of 4 people achieve 90% clear skin at 4 months.
Don't use if allergic to Skyrizi. Serious allergic reactions and an increased risk of infections or a lower ability to fight them may occur. Before treatment, your doctor should check for infection and tuberculosis. Tell your doctor if you have an infection or symptoms such as fever, sweats, chills, muscle aches, or cough, or if you plan to or recently received a vaccine.
Thanks to Skyrizi, there's nothing on my skin, and that means everything. Ask your doctor today about Skyrizi, the #1 dermatologist-prescribed biologic in psoriasis, and visit skyrizi.com or call 1-866-SKYRIZI to learn more.
What if you could hear your favorite song for the first time again? Introducing the all-new, reimagined Nissan Kicks with an available Bose Personal Plus sound system that uses speakers in the headrest to create a 360-degree listening experience. You've never heard anything like this. Reimagine your music and your drive. Experience the all-new reimagined Nissan Kicks for yourself at nissanusa.com today.
Available feature. Bose is a registered trademark of the Bose Corporation.
Girl, I have a secret. When I get stressed out, I get sweaty. That's why I use Secret Clinical Antiperspirant. It's like my own secret weapon. For 72 hours, I get Secret's strongest protection against sweat caused by stress, heat, and activity, because you know how crazy life can get. Plus, it's made with advanced odor fighters that don't just cover up smelliness. They help prevent it from happening in the first place. Believe me, if I weren't wearing Secret, I'd be a hot, smelly mess. Thankfully, Secret works.
Heard any other talk radio lately that sounds anything like this? We didn't think so. You're listening to Unapologetically Progressive, KBLA Talk 1580.
So we're talking with Council Member Heather Hutt. She is currently the leadership of Council District 10, where I reside in Los Angeles, and she's running for re-election. As I mentioned, Knock LA, which is pretty progressive, endorsed you. LA Times endorsed you, and they have kind of complimented you for your approach to dealing with the unhoused, calling it a continuation of the compassionate style of Mark Ridley Thomas, who held that seat prior to you having it. But it seems like, you know, they have opposite takes, and I just wonder, you know, if you want to address that.
Well, which part?
Well, I mean, like, the Knock LA is criticizing you for doing sweeps, which you already addressed. LA Times is saying you're compassionate. At the same time, Knock LA is also saying that your opponent is stopping shelters. So maybe this is a good place to bring some contrast between you and where your opponent is on this issue and others.
You know, my opponent, I'll start there. She is not my challenge. My challenge is really bringing services to people in this race and in the job. It is about, you know, what resources match the issue, because what happens in Arlington Heights is not the same thing that happens in Jefferson Park. And you have to be nimble in this job in order to figure out what services are necessary. And it's the same thing with what kind of housing is necessary. And I'm saying necessary because we are in need in the city of Los Angeles. What kind of services are necessary for our unhoused neighbors? How do we figure out, is it mental health? Do they need some drug interventions? Are they ill? do they have to be hospitalized? Do they need job training? Do they need therapy? Do they need child care? Like, it's all different. But we have to have a big old toolbox in order to figure out how to pull out what. That's the challenge. I'm not against shelter or housing. I'm not against my opponent. What I'm against is the disinvestment that has been going on for years and how we need to make an investment. I believe with the mayor's initiatives, this is the investment that will make the difference, and locking arms with her will make the difference.
You have her endorsement.
I do.
And, I mean, obviously you guys have worked together over the years in different capacities. What does that say to you, and who else do you want to highlight that has endorsed you?
Well, the mayor also is looking at our city from a point of view that she loves L.A., and then working with someone who has the same feelings about how beautiful our city is really exciting. It brings innovation, and you've seen that in her 2 years. I have the endorsement of Marquise Harris Dawson, who's our president of City Council. I actually was one of the nominators for him to become the president, and we work very, very well together. So in City Council, it's 90% of the members have endorsed me, which means progressive members and members that are a little more conservative, and they endorsed early on. Same thing with, I have Holly Mitchell's endorsement and 4 of the 5 members of LA County supervisors and mayors around. So I have Culver City Mayor, Compton Mayor, Los Angeles Mayor, Long Beach Mayor. Those are relationships that over the years I've had and been able to bring to this seat. So those are the kind of endorsements that are going to make our city work well together.
Yeah, I was surprised to see the range of people at your campaign kickoff. You had Hugo Soto Martinez, who's considered one of probably one of the most progressive city council members.
That's right.
And you had Tracy Park, who's probably considered one of the most conservative.
That's right.
Not to mention the former CD10 council member, Wesson, and you had Isadora Hall, everybody but Kamala Harris.
That's right. She's there in spirit, though. She has told me, I'm very proud of you. So she's there in spirit. I want to go back to endorsements, too, because I think it's important to say that I have the endorsement of Planned Parenthood and LA County Federation of Labor, the Democratic Party, Sierra Club. Like, it's vast because they want somebody that's not afraid to do the work. And I'm here to do the work.
Councilmember Hutt, one of the things that we always, CD10 had like 1 million people running. I mean, it was a very crowded primary, including some beloved progressives, like Pastor Eddie. Talk to me about how you were able to, make peace or whatever it is to where he's now campaigning for you.
I've always respected Pastor Eddie. Even when I worked in the U.S. Senate, I made sure that he was a party to work that was going on from a federal point of view. So we've always had a respectful relationship. When it was time to run, it was a respectful race. And when I got higher numbers, we had a conversation, and he came aboard and endorsed me. And
for those that don't follow LA politics, we're talking about Pastor Eddie Anderson. And, he's very popular progressive activist as well as a very young pastor.
Right. And he's a young pastor, fun fact, at McCarthy Memorial, where my parents got married.
Oh, wow.
Guess who else got married there? Me.
Wow, that's wild.
Right? So, it's full circle. And he has been very helpful in sharing direction and, what his goals are. And so we're working together.
The one of the big concerns, whether it's the presidential race or, city measures, county measures, water board, is turnout.
That's right.
So how are we doing?
Folks, turn in your ballots. We're in California. All you got to do is put it in a voting center box or give it to your mailman. You don't need a stamp on it, but we need to complete our ballots and turn them in. In CD10, we have about 140,000 registered voters that the Secretary of State said the ballots went to the voter, and only about 10% of them have been returned. So let's get our ballots returned.
I'll get right on that, council member. Mine is sitting in my house. But there's also the opportunity because you can register the same day you vote. So if you're not registered yet and you're in LA County, you can still vote. You can just roll up and get a provisional ballot and register on the spot.
Right at a voting center. Listen, our Secretary of State has made it simple. And if you hear her story about her parents being sharecroppers and not being able to vote, and then being in a state as progressive as California where you just can print and mail, she has made it simple. I've had young people tell me it's disrespectful not to vote. So let's do it.
I call it a bipolar state, council member, because we are progressive in San Francisco, LA, and parts of Orange County. But then there's this very, very conservative core. So I call it politically bipolar. I can't resist asking you this, though. I have to ask you about, you said Kamala Harris says the Vice President Kamala Harris says she's very proud of you. You worked with her and for her. How are you feeling about her, and how is the whole election cycle of having your former colleague at the top of the ticket impacting you as a woman and as a candidate?
That's a multi-pronged question.
Yeah, sorry.
Okay, so I'm excited for her. She's more than qualified. I know that because I work for her, and I know how she really digs into issues that are important, and that she also loves the United States, and that she will be the right leader for America. It is surreal to be on the ballot with your forever boss, right?
Yeah.
And she does reach out, especially through her vice presidency, about specific issues that are Los Angeles-based or California-based. So the relationship is still there. I hope that women see that we are qualified leaders in this race. Even in the city council, as a first woman to be appointed and be in leadership in the 10th, or for her as a first woman to be a vice president and hopefully president, we belong here. We belong at the table. Like Shirley Chisholm said, if they don't give you a seat at the table, bring a chair. We belong here.
Yeah, we're talking with Council Member Heather Hutt. We'll continue this conversation. The election, the last day to vote is in 8 days. So that means today is the best day to vote if you're ready. And we're getting you ready. We are your election information station, KBLA Talk 1580.
More of First Things First with Dominique DiPrima when we come forward.
This is Assemblymember Tina McKenna reminding you to vote for my girl, Sade Alawari, for State Assembly. Sade is a part of our community, and she's the partner I need in Sacramento to help fight for economic justice, affordable housing, health care, and so much more. Sade is just like us. She comes out of our community, and she spent years working in our community, bringing people together. That's why she's endorsed by Los Angeles Mayor Karen Bass, Supervisor Holly Mitchell, teachers, firefighters, and Planned Parenthood advocates. This is Tina McKenna, and I need you to make a plan to vote and to vote by Tuesday, November the 5th, for Sade Alawari for State Assembly.
Ad paid for by Opportunity PAC, a coalition of teachers, nurses, faculty members, school employees, and public and private labor, healthcare, and environmental organizations. Ad committee's top funders, California Teachers Association, not authorized by a candidate or committee controlled by a candidate.
Black Women for Wellness and Stand LA are standing up against harmful oil drilling in South Los Angeles. Our Bad Neighbors campaign exposes the serious health risks of drilling in our neighborhoods. You've seen the billboards, posters, and coffee sleeves around South LA. Now join the movement to protect our health, our families, and our future. Visit bwwla.org/no-drilling to learn more and get involved. That's bwwla.org/no-drilling. Have you heard of the 50-30-20 rule? This can help you spend and save your money wisely. So, how does it work? Distribute your dollars into 3 buckets. 50% towards needs, 30% towards your wants, and 20% goes to savings. Use this tool to help your journey to financial success. Sponsored by J.P. Morgan Chase & Company.
Take it from Michelle Obama.
This election is going to be close. Michelle Obama is asking you, no, I'm telling y'all to do something.
This election is our moment to continue the fight of those who came before us. And we have the power to do it, but only if we do it together.
We did it before, y'all, and we sure can do it again. Let us work like our lives depend on it.
Paid for by NAACP.
KBLA Talk 1580.
We've got a lot to talk about. KBLA Talk 1580, connecting you with services and solutions. Worried about eviction? You have rights, and Stay Housed LA can help. Stay Housed LA is a partnership between LA County, the City of Los Angeles, and local service providers. From Lancaster to Long Beach, we're here to help you with tenant education workshops, legal clinics, free legal services for eligible tenants, and online resources about tenant protection laws. Don't face eviction alone. Call our hotline at 1-888-694-0040. That's 1-888-694-0040. Or visit stayhousedla.org. Stay Housed LA, keeping Los Angeles residents in their homes. Stay Housed LA, your rights, your home, our community. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
The conversation continues right now with Dominique DiPrima on First Things First.
We're talking with Councilwoman Heather Hutt. She is over the 10th district and running for re-election, asking for your vote right now. Low turnout really is worrisome. What do we do about that? I mean, it's not just worrisome for you; it's worrisome for every issue, on the ballot. I guess drag friends to the polls.
I mean, honestly, we really have to treat these last 8 days like we're in the 60s. Call your friends and family, talk about it, go sit down with them, take your sample ballot that you've made notes on, and let's go through it. We do it together. In my family, we sat around the table and did it together and talked it out. And, my kids are more progressive than I am, or they had questions about other things. We could talk it out.
Yeah, same. My child is definitely to the left of me, amazingly. But yeah, right. But I mean, I went to a medical appointment the other day, and the doctor was like, "Well, what about these judges?" Trying to get me to help them fill out. Anyway, so we got to do what we got to do to make it happen, right?
Because, they used to treat voting like it was over there. And if you're in a conversation with, your doctor or someone in your neighborhood, that means they realize it is a part of their life. That's great.
Are you one who thinks the LA City Council should expand? We should have more council districts?
It will give us more representation, so yes. We don't have any LGBTQ on our council right now. We don't have enough African Americans on our council right now. We don't have enough Asians on our council right now. It will just give us a better opportunity to have more representation.
I mean, we have redistricting on the ballot. We have charter reform on the ballot. It seems like in ethics reform on the ballot. So it seems like as a city, we are going through some transformation in that area. Do you have like a specific number in mind?
I did. First of all, I did sit on the ad hoc committee for governance reform to make sure these things get on the ballot so that there is better opportunity for representation and some transformational reform. And I do have a number, and my number is 25. So that
25 districts. Wow.
That will be just a little over 100,000 in a district. Right now, our districts have about 240,000
right
people in it, but you know,
which is the size of many towns.
Oh yeah, Compton is only 100,000 people. I know, right?
So it's like being the mayor of 2 Comptons,
right?
2.5 Comptons. So you think 25? I don't. You know, that's not on the ballot.
No, it's not. But that's in my head.
Yeah. If you could make other adjustments to the charter, to the way city government works, whether it be, you know, the way we district or the way we campaign or the way the ethics mechanism works, because we're still bouncing back from some massive scandals. Like what changes would, besides 25 districts, what else would you see?
Well, the representation part, I think that's our right to have representation. And as far as the rest of reforms are concerned, it would take me days to even nutshell it. We spent a year in those meetings on Saturdays and, you know, hours and hours on non-council days to really put together a reasonable package that made it to the ballot.
Right, that everyone could agree on. Because, you know, a lot of folks felt, especially when when it came to the ethics reform, it should have been stronger.
And also in the independent redistricting piece, I really tried to make sure that if folks are participating, that we don't have like a plethora of no shade on lawyers, but only lawyers participating, that young people are able to add their voice to the table when making these adjustments.
You know, I keep saying that we need to focus on what we want more, not what we don't want in these elections. It sometimes gets real doom and gloomy. What are you most proud of that you've been able to accomplish that could be an example of what you might do if reelected?
One of the things that we did early on, I'm the chair of transportation, was a meeting in the community, a full committee hearing in the community about pedestrian and bicycle safety. I'm pretty proud of that because we have to coexist in the transportation space, and we need to be in a place where we have voices of folks that are not just in a bus or a taxi. You know, the bicycle is a part of our transportation system, and then our pedestrian safety is so important. Well, through pandemic, people just start speeding, I think, because there were no cars on the road.
Oh, and we just got used to it?
Yeah, and they just... And pedestrians...
That makes sense. I can't believe how fast people go in Leimert Park. It's like it's a freeway.
Right. And so pedestrians are, frightened. And so we really did talk about pedestrian safety. And I still want our communities to be human, where you could see folks walk their dog, grandma walking to the store. That used to be a joy of my life, to walk with grandma to the grocery store. And people are afraid of that. So, I would like more pedestrian safety. I was proud of that kind of work, and more work that makes a safe community.
I mean, I had no idea that pedestrian deaths was such a huge menace.
Correct.
A way. Yeah.
Vision Zero is throughout the nation, though. That is a national initiative where folks are trying to reduce what that auto pedestrian really crisis is.
Got a little over a minute here, Councilmember Hutt. What's your closing argument? What's your elevator pitch? Why we should vote for Heather Hutt for CD10?
Wow, it's big. Thank you for that question. I would like you to vote for me because I believe that I have the tools to do the work. I have the experience in state and federal and city to bring resources here to our city. We have seen already some changes in what our city is looking like. We want to be Olympic ready, and I want to do the work to make sure our infrastructure projects are done. I went with the mayor last October to D.C. and asked for money from transportation for our infrastructure projects here in the city.
And you're over the transportation committee,
and I'm over
right now.
transportation committee.
Yeah.
I am the person that I feel like you have access to because I'm here. I'm in the community. I'm walking down the street. You catch me in Leimert Park and Napoli Natural getting the oil or any of those things. You definitely catch me in CJ's. And so easy access, and I'm not a one-size-fits-all person. So I understand the tapestry that we live in, and I'm here to represent it. I have relationships with leaderships in all those communities, with our neighborhood councils, and then each one of our communities that are destinations have a leadership space there too, very grassroots, and I have relationships there too. I feel like I'm here for all of us.
Councilmember Heather Hutt, thank you so much. Heather Hutt for LA?
Yeah, at heatherhutt.com.
Heatherhutt.com. Tavis Smiley is next. Until tomorrow, one love.
KBLA 1580 Santa Monica.